Most people assume their cat only responds to the crinkle of a treat bag or the pop of a can. Then you call their name out loud. They blink, their ear twitches, and they just walk the other way. But a 2019 study from Sophia University in Japan tested dozens of cats and found that they actually recognize their own names. It comes down to evolutionary wiring. Dogs were selectively bred for generations to obey human commands. Cats were never bred for obedience. Instead of an automatic reaction, a cat makes a calculation. They actively weigh the cost and benefit of acknowledging you based on what historically happens next. If their name usually leads to play or food, they arrive. If it leads to a bath or the vet, they stay put. When your cat ignores you, it is not a lack of comprehension. It is a calculated, autonomous choice based entirely on the invisible dictionary of outcomes you have built with them over time. That invisible dictionary explains why the word treat commands instant attention from anywhere in the house. This is the result of classical conditioning. Over a century ago, scientist Ivan Pavlov observed that dogs began drooling just from hearing a bell because they learned the sound meant food was imminent. This flowchart illustrates how your cat does the exact same thing. By saying treat right before feeding them over and over, you've created a direct neural loop. The audio triggers a biological reward anticipation that bypasses thought completely. This same conditioning applies to negative avoidance, most notably with the word no. When your cat freezes on the counter after you say no, they aren't grasping a moral rule about the furniture. They react to a sharp tone, to sudden volume, and an emotional charge. Use no too loudly or too often. Your cat doesn't learn discipline. They learn fear. They stop associating the word with an action and start associating your presence with stress. Words like treat and no function on a purely transactional level. They teach a cat how to manipulate their environment to secure food or avoid a threat, but they do not build a relationship. But feline cognition extends well past direct commands. Cats passively map out complex social data about their environment without any intentional training from us. In 2022, researchers at Kyoto University found that cats living in multi-pet households actually learn and recognize the names of their fellow feline housemates. They proved it by playing a specific cat's name while showing a screen with either the correct face or the wrong face. When the wrong face appeared, the cats stared significantly longer, an expectancy violation. They expected a specific visual and noticed the anomaly. Nobody ever sat these cats down to teach them who was who. They figured it out organically by observing patterns in the home. They act as silent scientists, continuously gathering and processing the social dynamics of your household behind your back. This brings us to the highest level of feline comprehension, the purely interpersonal, wrapped up in the phrase, "come here." Unlike treat, this phrase isn't driven by biological hunger, and unlike no, it isn't driven by the need to avoid a loud noise. Instead, come here relies entirely on the historical ledger of your specific relationship. It is the sum total of hundreds of micro-moments, where responding to your voice resulted in warmth, physical affection, and safety. When you say those words, and your cat actually walks across the room to reach you, they are explicitly not obeying a strict command. They are making an active, scientifically backed choice. They know exactly what you're asking, and by choosing to close the distance, they are giving you the ultimate declaration of their trust.